Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video. Now in this one I'll be going over to a fairly big update to my RogPhone2Flasher script. So now there is support for a Multirom dual booting. Now this is kind of like a poor man's way of doing it. It's not really, you know, like the proper Multirom. If you look that up, some phones have it. It's pretty sick. But this is kind of a way, if you want to switch from like custom ROM to stock ROM, you can do it, you know, a little bit faster than kind of doing it manually. So there's kind of a bit of setup to this script, so I recommend that you guys watch my other two videos on this. So this is kind of like the first video I made on it, and then this here is the one if you want to run this on Windows. I recommend you run it on Linux though, because it's kind of, I don't know, Windows is just kind of laggy in general. So yeah, that's that. So today I'll be showing you guys how to do the multi-ROM basically. So I split the script into like a good bit of files and stuff like that, so you are gonna have to download the zip and extract it, or just do a git clone. And once you've done that, there isn't really like much change to the config. I just added like an extra Omni images folder, so just put that in wherever your payload dump or output is for Omni, if you want to use Omni, that is. And then I also added TWRPs, because those are for like for stock ROM anyway, to help with that shite. And so yeah, you will actually need these, well, the queue and the installer for this video. And you'll need the Havoc folder and the Asus images folder as well. So here's the menu right here. You can just do sudo, then whatever the file is called. You don't need to use sudo, but for me to run fastboot commands I need to use sudo. Depends on your system really. So it's like that. Now anyway, currently I am on Havoc OS, but you can really be on whatever you want. So first thing you want to do is you want to go into the backup menu. So that's number 6, press 6, and then you want to do is reboot to TWRP, so press 1. And then the green text here, this is like when you need to do something. So basically you would need to here type in the code on your phone when it comes up. There we go. So I'm just gonna type that in real quick and wait until this pops up. There we go. So now here, what you can do is you can back up. So if you're on stock ROM right now, you can back up stock data by pressing 3 and pressing enter. I am on Havoc right now, so I will back up Havoc data. I won't do it now because it takes too long. I already did it pretty much. So then what you want to do is just exit the script or go back and then head over to Multirom. And then here there's kind of like a warning because this might not work for you. It might like brick your phone or whatever, so do this at your own risk. And then here we want to reboot into fastboot. And it doesn't matter what ROM you're on right now. You could be on stock ROM, you could be on Omni ROM, you could be on Lineage, for all things. So for this video what we're gonna do is choose to use stock Android 10 and Havoc. You can try doing stock Android 10 and Omni ROM, but it doesn't like work for me. But the code is, you know, the same for this, so theoretically it should work, but it just doesn't. So yeah. You might also want to factory reset before doing this. I don't know, if it doesn't work for you, try factory reset and then it should be fine. But factory resetting will delete all of your data. So what I'm doing now is I'm not gonna like delete any data at all. Well, any like user data, it will still delete like your apps and stuff, but we have TWRP backup for that, so that's fine. So anyway, we're gonna choose number 2 to use to dual boot basically Android 10 and Havoc. So here you'll have a few options. You can reboot to fastboot. We're already in fastboot, so that's fine. I just stuck this into every single menu because most of my scripts they need to be in fastboot to begin with. So anyway, to set this up, we will run number 2. This will flash stock and Havoc to both slots, and it will also flash kind of a disabled VB meta yoke, so that both ROMs can decrypt the data just fine. So before doing this, you should make a backup of everything pretty much. So we'll just run 2. And then this will tell you what I just said there, so press Y. And then data will also be wiped. So this is your apps and stuff like that, so that's why we did the backup earlier on. And this will boot into TWRP, and it will, so we'll boot into TWRP and then start wiping the data. Now if you have a code, you will have to type it in, and then it's gonna start flashing all the images. So on your phone, you'll see pretty much nothing. So just make sure you keep an eye on this, and don't touch your phone as well, because if you unplug the cable, we'll have to start this all over again. And if you unplug it at the wrong time, you might actually break your phone as well. So I recommend you put your phone like far away where you can't like knock it or something like that. Now this will take a while because the images are like quite big for this phone. I think the system image alone is like 4 gigabytes, so the PC has to like send it over to the phone, and then the phone has to flash it. So it will take a while. But at the end of this, you will have stock on slot A and Havoc on slot B. Alright, so we finished flashing A slot, so now we're gonna flash B. So have our stock ROM is like fully done now. Now we're just gonna flash the custom ROM on B slot. So first of all, we're flashing like the same images that are from stock, and then flashing the custom ROM images on top of that. So like for example, instead of flashing the stock system image, we're gonna flash the custom ROM system image instead. That way it's a little bit faster than flashing like every single image twice and then overwriting it with the custom ROM images. And then if you see stuff like this, for example, invalid parts file, just don't worry about it, it's fine. It always comes up for me and there doesn't seem to be any issues with it. So it's grand. Alright, so now we finished flashing. We're currently on slot A, so you can see here by the output, and also down here. So next, what we want to do, because we ran this, we need to run switch to stock ROM for the first time, and then after that we can just use switch to Havoc ROM, switch to stock ROM or whatever. But after running this, you need to run this, which is 4. This will say yes, and this is because we will need to install TWRP. This will install it to both slots pretty much. And so here, what you see here in green text is phone is gonna reboot into the OS, and we need to basically reboot it to fastboot manually. This because I don't have like ADB privileges at this point, since this is a fresh ROM basically. So we just need to wait for the welcome yoke to pop up, and then we can turn off the phone and reboot it into fastboot basically. So once you get this, if you had what you call it, pin code or whatever, put it in. Like so, this screen should come up. Next, what I want to do is power off the phone, and then to get into fastboot mode, push down the power button and the volume key at the same time when this is turned off properly. Like so. So push those two down, and then let go, and then the script should detect it. Yeah, so there we go. It's gonna flash TWRP. There we go. So now you'll have to put in your code again, your lock screen code or whatever. Or actually, you don't for this one, it's just gonna flash TWRP anyway. So as you can see here, it's flashing TWRP to both slots. So that means that Havoc will have this TWRP flashed as well. So this is handy if you're using something like Omni that doesn't have TWRP built in. This will flash it to both ROMs at the same time pretty much. So that's kind of like a cool side effect, I suppose. But anyway, we'll be back inside TWRP. So yeah, there we go. What you want to do is type in your password. And then wait for the menu to come up. Like so. If you go to install, you should see all your files, which is good. So anyway, over here, it says, do you wanna restore stock data? If you don't have stock data, just press no, and you can continue like booting up your phone or whatever. But because I have stock data, I will press yes. And this will restore the stock data for us, so I don't have to go like through the setup again. Now, if you're doing this for the very first time, you won't have stock data. How you get stock data is either by doing a backup earlier on, as I mentioned before, or when I'm gonna show you in a bit, switching to Havoc. Before switching, it will back up the stock data, and so that's pretty much how you have stock data. So that way, once you switch to Havoc, you'll have stock data, then you can set up Havoc or restore Havoc, and then once Havoc is restored or whatever, you can go back, which will back up Havoc data as well, and then you will have this option here to restore stock data too. Now my stock data is fairly small because I didn't really use the stock ROM that much, but for example, here it says total restore is 2 gigabytes. My total restore for Havoc is 11 gigabytes, so that's kind of like what takes ages. So anyway, from here, as you can see, it says all done. What you can do here is just install Magisk or whatever, if you want to. I'm just gonna install it since, I don't know, I always install it. you might as well like. So then we can just reboot the system and we'll be like in the stock ROM just as we left it. Now I left it fairly stock, I just deleted some apps and changed some settings, and so that it uses like the fingerprint, uses the gesture navigation and all that kind of good stuff, you know. Yeah, so there we go, fired up just like I left it. Gonna enter my password. Now then you can see the fingerprint here works fine, and my gestures are still here, and like all the apps that I deleted are still deleted, so that's pretty cool. Magisk Manager, it still works. The safety net should be fine as well, and it is. So now I'll show you how to go back to like, or change to Havoc. So once you're here, just press enter to get like the menu again. So every time you kind of don't see the menu, you could just press enter and it'll pop up again if you select nothing. So what I want to do is reboot back to fastboot, because like I said before, all these scripts, they kind of start off in fastboot. And then what we want to do is we want to switch to Havoc ROM, so that'll be number 5. So press 5, press that, and then press confirm. And this will reboot the phone into A slot. We were already on A slot, but this just makes sure that that we're basically in the correct place when we're doing this stuff. Alright, so now we are rebooting into recovery, I believe, so we are waiting for an ADB connection. So this should be automatic because we have ADB privileges. And there we go, we should be in TWRP fairly soon. Alright, so enter your password again, and then wait for the menu to pop up. There we go. Now over here it says, do you want to back up your stock data? So this is a must if you want to restore like how it was before you switched to Havoc. So press Y. This will launch a TWRP backup. It will save it to data backup store or data backup stock. So there's also data backup Havoc, there's data backup Omni, and like for basically all the different ROMs it saves it to a different backup folder, so that's how you know. Alright, so now it says data will be erased, but we already backed it up, so it's fine. You can just press Y. And then this will change to the boot slot B, and it will reboot the phone. So now you see the green text again, means we need to do something. So here we need to wait for the Havoc startup or welcome screen to pop up, and then we need to reboot the phone to fastboot manually. This is the same thing as like with the stock, because I don't have ADB privileges, I cannot reboot using the script. So this will take a while for Havoc to boot up into its welcome screen. So I don't know why it takes a lot longer than it does with stock, but that's just how it is, I suppose. Alright, so there we go. We need to wait until get an option to put in our PIN. Well, if you aren't using like the PIN code, you probably don't have that option. I don't know, I didn't try without it. Alright, there we go. So there should be, yeah, so put in your password here. Like so, and then what you want to do is just hold down the power button, power off, and then we want to reboot into fastboot mode again, so power button, volume up at the same time. Till we get here, and then just leave your phone. And the script should detect it, and then it's gonna boot into TWRP. Now it should reboot automatically, so we don't need to type in the passcode yet. Yeah, so there we go. So basically what happened there is it used the TWRP boot image to boot into TWRP and then reboot into the TWRP that's installed on the phone basically. So once you're here, you want to put in your password and then wait for the menu to pop up before pressing yes here, because otherwise it won't find the backup. Alright, so once it's here, you can check if everything is okay. By clicking install, you should see all your files that you have or whatever. Oh yeah, also if you click restore, you should see all your backups and stuff. So that's actually a better way of checking if all your stuff is there. So anyway, then you want to press yes to restore the backup. And as you can see, this is like 11 gigabytes. So, well, I don't know why I'm pointing down there, but yeah, so 11 gigabytes. So this will take a while to install. And this is actually the last step. After this, you can flash Magisk and then you should be good to go. And then if the phone goes to sleep, it doesn't actually really matter since TWRP like still works in the background, so that's grand. Alright, there we go. So all finished. Now we can just flash Magisk and then just reboot the phone after that. And we should be back in Havoc how I left it. Alright, so reboot system there at the bottom. And then if you want to go back to stock again, just use number 3, switch to stock, and it'll be pretty much the same procedure as switching to Havoc. So yeah, that's pretty much how the script works. I'll just wait for this to boot into Havoc like fully, so you guys can see that it worked nicely. So it does take a while to like switch ROMs because of like backing up and restoring data and stuff like that. So yeah, as you can see, you're back in Havoc nicely. It's a bit dim. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so let's check out if Magisk is doing alright. If we pass the safety net. Yeah, there we go. And so after doing all of this, we still have like all of our data, I suppose. So like all my images and stuff like that, or all my photos and stuff like that is still there. So yeah, that's pretty handy. Like I said as well, like there is code here for, if I go back, so 8 to go back. There is code here for stock and Omni, but I don't know, it didn't work for me. It's like pretty much the exact same code as for stock Android 10 and Havoc. One user in my Telegram group suggested that you could factory reset, so like format the internal data, which will delete like all your pictures and all that kind of stuff. You could do that. Or if you're on Omni already, this probably might work for you, and then you might actually have some issues getting Havoc to work, so I don't know, I don't really use Omni anyway, so I'll play around with like Havoc and Omni, dual booting them both, and because that'll be more interesting anyway. So I'll see if this works, and then if I don't know if I could get this working, I'd say I could get this working as well. So yeah, stuff for Android 9 like number 4, that's really nothing coming soon, so I'm not sure if this is even possible, because you would have to use like Android 9 VB meta for both of these or something, so I'm not sure it will work with this, but anyway, whatever, it is grand. I might give it a go someday. So yeah, thanks for watching, and bye bye.